Today's story comes from a small monastery in the foothills of ancient India, from a time when wisdom was not written in books, but carried in the hearts of old men, and passed one quiet conversation at a time to those who were ready to hear it. It is the story of a grieving young man, an aging master, a handful of salt, and a walk to a lake. This is not a story about pain out there in the world. This is a story about why the very same sorrow crushes one person and barely bends another. Why two people can lose the same thing, suffer the same insult, carry the same wound, and one grows bitter while the other grows deep. It is about the secret that decides whether your pain becomes poison or becomes wisdom. And it is about a single instruction the old master gave his student beside the water that evening. An instruction that, if you follow it honestly, can change the way you carry every burden for the rest of your life. In a valley, cradled by mountains, where morning mist moved slowly over the rice fields and the smoke of cooking fires rose into a pale sky, there stood a small monastery of gray stone. And in that monastery lived an old master, and among his many students, one deeply troubled young man. The young man was perhaps 20, perhaps a little more, old enough to have been wounded by life, young enough to believe his wounds were heavier than anyone else's. And in those days, his heart was full of grief. His work had failed. Someone he loved had spoken words that cut him and had never taken them back. A future he had counted on had quietly dissolved. Every morning he woke with the same weight pressing on his chest, and every night he lay awake, turning the same sorrows over and over, the way a man turns stones in his hands, hoping this time they will feel lighter. They never did. The other students noticed the change in him. He ate little. He spoke less. During the morning chants, his lips moved, but his eyes were somewhere far away, walking through rooms of the past that no longer existed. Grief does that to a person. It pulls the mind backward, again and again, to the one door it cannot close. One evening, he could carry it no longer. He found the old master sitting on the worn wooden steps of the meditation hall, watching the last light move slowly across the mountains. The young man sat down beside him, and for a long time he said nothing. The cicadas had begun their evening song. Somewhere below, a bell rang once and was still. Then the words came out of him all at once. "Master, why is my life so bitter? I do everything I am supposed to do. I work, I pray, I try to be good to others, and still the same pain returns morning after morning. Other men seem to carry their troubles lightly. Mine are crushing me. Tell me, why is my suffering so heavy?" The old man did not answer right away. He had learned across many decades that the best answers are the ones that are waited for. He watched the light on the mountains a moment longer. Then he said quietly, "Go to the kitchen and bring me a handful of salt, and bring a glass of water." The young man blinked. It was not the answer he had hoped for, but he had been with the master long enough to know that obedience often came before understanding. So he rose and he went, and he returned with a small clay cup of water in one hand and a handful of coarse white salt in the other. "Put the salt in the water," the master said, "and stir it well." The young man poured the salt into the cup. He stirred it with his finger until the crystals disappeared. "Now drink." The young man lifted the cup and drank a mouthful. His face twisted. He turned and spat into the dust. "How does it taste?" "Bitter, master. It is terrible. I cannot drink it." "Yet that is exactly how you have been drinking your life, every morning, every night. The same small cup, the same salt." The young man opened his mouth to answer and found he had nothing to say. The old man smiled, the way a person smiles when a lesson is unfolding exactly as it has unfolded 100 times before. He rose slowly to his feet and picked up his walking stick. "Come with me and bring another handful of salt." They walked together out of the monastery gate and along a narrow stone path that wound between the fields. The sky was turning the color of old copper. Water birds moved low over the rice paddies, and the mountains stood dark and patient against the fading light. Neither of them spoke. The master had learned that silence prepares the heart, the way rain prepares the soil. At last, the path opened, and before them lay a mountain lake, still and wide, holding the last colors of the evening sky on its surface like a held breath. The master stopped at the water's edge. "Throw the salt into the lake." The young man opened his hand and cast the salt out over the water. The white crystals scattered, caught the light for one moment, and vanished into the dark stillness. "Now drink from the lake." The young man knelt on the smooth stones. He cupped his hands, lifted the water to his mouth, and drank. "How does it taste?" "Fresh, master. Clean. Cold." "Do you taste the salt?" "No, master. Not at all." The old man lowered himself onto a flat rock beside the water and motioned for the young man to sit beside him. For a while he said nothing, letting the question rise on its own in the young man's chest. Then he spoke, and his voice was soft, the way a voice becomes when it is carrying something heavy with great care. "The pain of life is pure salt, no more, no less. The amount of salt in life stays the same, exactly the same. It was the same handful in the cup as in the lake. But the amount of bitterness we taste depends on the container we put it in. So, when you are in pain, when the salt of life is poured on you, there is only one thing you can do. Stop being a glass, become a lake." The young man sat with this. He turned it over in his mind the way he might turn a stone in his palm, feeling its weight, its edges. The first stars were appearing over the mountains. "But master, how does a man become a lake? I cannot make my heart bigger simply by wishing it so." And here the old man did something the young man did not expect. He laughed. Not a mocking laugh, a soft, tired, loving laugh. The laugh of someone who had asked the same question of his own master half a century before, beside this same water. "No, child, not by wishing. A lake is not made in a day. It is made the way all deep things are made, slowly, quietly, drop by drop." He placed his weathered hand on the young man's shoulder. "Every morning you rise and give thanks for what remains instead of counting what was lost. You are widening the water. Every time you forgive someone, not because they deserve it, but because you refuse to carry them any longer, you are deepening it. Every time you serve someone whose burden is heavier than yours, Every time you sit in silence and let the world be larger than your troubles. Every time you walk beneath the open sky and remember how small a single sorrow is against the whole of your life, you are adding rain to the lake. But every hour you spend circling your own wound, you are shrinking. Every grudge you polish, every insult you replay, every old grief you refuse to set down pours you into a smaller and smaller glass, until one day a single grain of salt is enough to make your whole life bitter. The young man looked down at the water moving gently against the stones. "And the salt, master? Will it stop coming if I grow?" The old man shook his head slowly. "No, child, the salt will keep coming. That is not a punishment. That is the price of being alive. Loss will come, failure will come, words that cut will come from mouths you love. You cannot choose the salt. No one can. You can only choose the size of the water it falls into." They sat together as the stars came out, one by one, over the lake. The young man did not speak again. He did not need to. And somewhere in the quiet of that evening, without ceremony, without even knowing he was doing it, he stopped asking how to escape his pain and began, drop by drop, to grow larger than it. Pause for a moment and let the Master's words settle into your own chest, because this story is not really about salt and water. It is about you. It is about every person who has ever lain awake at night replaying a wound and wondered, why does this hurt me so much? Why can I not let this go? The Master's answer is one of the most honest truths ever spoken about suffering. The salt is not going away. Life will keep its handful ready. The insult you did not deserve, the loss you could not prevent, the failure that still stings years later, the person who never said sorry. You do not get to choose the salt. You never did. But here is the hopeful part. You are the container, and the container can change. When you spend your days circling one wound, your whole world shrinks to the size of a glass, and in a glass, every drop tastes bitter. When the wound is all you look at, the wound is all you taste. The person who hurt you sleeps peacefully tonight. You are the one still drinking the salt. But the opposite is also true. Every time you practice gratitude, naming what remains instead of mourning what is gone, you are widening the water. Every time you forgive someone, not because they earned it, but because you deserve to be free of them, you are widening the water. Every time you step outside your own pain to ease someone else's, every time you sit in silence, every time you let yourself be small beneath a large sky, you are becoming the lake. As the wise have said, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. And as the poet Rumi taught, you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. The vastness is already in you. It has simply been waiting for you to stop living from the glass. So, think honestly. In your life right now, what is the handful of salt you keep tasting? And here is the harder question. Have you been living as a glass or as a lake? There is no shame in the answer, only awareness. Because the moment you become aware, you take back your power to grow. And remember the deepest lesson of all. The goal is not to feel nothing. The lake still receives the salt. Every loss still lands. The goal is to grow a life so wide and so deep, so full of gratitude, forgiveness, purpose, and quiet, that when the salt comes, and it will come, it dissolves. Register these words deep inside your heart. The salt is the same for everyone. The bitterness is not. You cannot stop the salt from falling. You can decide what it falls into. Small heart, heavy sorrow. Wide heart, light sorrow. It is not the burden that breaks you. It is the size of what carries it. Stop being the glass. Become the lake. Now, I want to hear from you. Be honest with yourself for a moment. What is one way you will begin widening your water starting today? Maybe it is finally forgiving someone you have carried for too long. Maybe it is one quiet morning of gratitude before you pick your troubles back up. Maybe it is stepping away just once from the wound you keep touching. Whatever it is, write it in the comments below and let it be a quiet promise you make to yourself tonight. If this story touched something deep inside you, please like and share this video so it can reach someone who has been drinking from a glass for far too long. And subscribe to our channel so you never miss a story that could gently change the way you see yourself and the world. I'll be back again with another powerful story. Until then, be patient with yourself, be gentle with others, and remember, the salt in your life may never grow less, but the water is yours. It has always been yours. Keep growing it, drop by drop. Become the lake.